Okay, so now we're on trig graphs match multiple choice. So which equation represents the graph shown below? Once again, you're trying to find the equation, and then we're gonna pick the correct multiple choice. Screenshot that so we can point and talk. Okay, so first I would like to find our midline. So our midline is right in the center between the top and the bottom. So I can see that that is right about there. And this has a y value of 0. So at the very end, you can see that all of them kind of have a plus 0. Okay, so they're all qualified right now just by looking at the midline. Then we also have to look at our amplitude. Amplitude is the distance from the midline to the top or the midline to the bottom, and you can see that it has a distance of 3. Okay, and then you can see that all over here they have a 3. So far we haven't eliminated anything, but we do know that our midline was 0 and our amplitude is 3, and so far things are looking good. Okay, and then we can look for our period. So for that, we want to do top to top or bottom to bottom or one hill, one valley. But in this case, they literally just give it to us top to top. So we're going to just calculate that. This is our period. Okay. So to do that, we're going to take our right side minus the left side. So it's 320 minus 0. So our period is 320. Now the thing that appears in our equation is going to be the b value, which remember is 2 pi over the period. So it's 2 pi over 320. Okay, and then when you simplify this, you could divide both the top and the bottom by 2. And then you'll get pi over 160. So if you're looking in this spot, you will notice that is not those two. We need the pi over 160. Okay, questions so far? We're not done yet, obviously, because there's 2 choices left, but anything so far? Okay, so then there's 2 choices. The difference is that it's either a sine or it's a cosine. So I'm going to show you just a quick sketch of what a sine and a cosine looks like. And let me write this one sine of x, and then the bottom one's going to be our cosine of x. Okay, when you are looking for the difference between these, I'll draw these in a different color. Let's do them in green. Sine's going to start on your midline and then go like, have that shape. Cosine's going to start above the midline and like have that shape. So it's the key is where they start. Do they start on the midline or off the midline? Sine starts on the midline. And when I say start, I mean like the y-axis. Like where they start is right here on this axis. And then cosine starts not on the midline, so either above or below. So you have to identify your midline and then figure out if this is a starting on the midline or above or below the midline. Do you guys have questions on that? Okay, so then you guys can take a look at our graph that's given here, and I'll ask you guys, here is my red midline. Is my graph starting above or below it over here? Or no, above. Is this a sine or cosine? My bad, I'll just say that. Is this a sine or cosine? Cosine, yes. Good job. So since we are not literally starting on the midline, we are a cosine graph. So then let's cross that one out. And so we're going to select the last one. We have a cosine. So there, cosine. Let's do one more. Okay. I think that's fine. Still a good example. Oh wait, let me scroll down more and screenshot from here. Okay, so which equation represents the graph shown below? Let's first find our midline. Our midline I can see is right here. They even gave us dots, how nice. So this is at 400, so not those two. Then we want our amplitude. Our amplitude is the distance from the midline to the top or the distance from the midline to the bottom. It looks like 3, but notice that all of these, like the scaling, it goes by 100. So really the distance is between 700 and 400. You can subtract it and get 300. So your amplitude is 300. Does anybody have a question on that? Because this time we didn't just like count it. We like literally subtracted 700 and 400. Okay, interrupt me if you do have a question, but I'm going to cross out the 400s because it's a 300. Okay, and then let's do our period. Period, you can do top to top or bottom to bottom. I'm just going to choose top to top, top, top. That would be 16, the right number, minus 0, the left number, so it's 16. And then we calculate our b value, which is 2 pi divided by period. So it is really pi over 8. And you can see all of them have pi over 8. So that's totally fine. So we still have two options. We have the first one, which is 300 cosine pi over 8x plus 400, or the bottom one, which is negative 300 cosine pi over 8x plus 400. So the difference between these is a negative sign. So for a cosine, remember how I said cosine looks like that usually, with a little squiggly V? So a positive cosine is going to start on top. And then a negative cosine is going to start on the bottom. So on our picture here, do we have a positive or do we have a negative?
Positive.
Yeah, positive. So not that one. This is the first one. And since I'm already drawing a positive and negative graphs, let me just draw you a positive sign, just in case anyone wants to see it. So positive sign looks like that. And then a negative sign looks like that. So just in case anybody was wondering about the positive sign and the negative sign, it's over here on the top for you. Okay, and then in our case, we had a positive cosine. Does anybody have a question on this one? Okay, interrupt me if you do. I'll give you guys like 5 more seconds to take a picture if you want for the positive sign, negative sign, positive cosine, negative cosine. And okay, so let me know if you still needed more time, but I'm going to put this as my answer now. If you still need it, I always have it in the photos because I just save it. That's why I save all my photos. Okay, that's it. So we have 2 sections and they're very similar, and we've kind of done the same thing for like the past 2, 3 lessons where we're just making the equation. So I think you guys got the hang of it, but let me know if you have any questions, okay?